Do you like silky tones and pendulums? Are you curious about how to craft words to take someone to a state of trance? Or would you like to explore trance as a subject? Well, this is a podcast with a focus on things hypnotic. My name is Fish the Hypno Bear, and I will be your host. This is the first of hopefully many future adventures into the mind. I will share my personal experience and knowledge on how to utilize words, touch, implements, and environment around you to practice and experience trance, along with other uses for hypnosis. On this podcast, we'll delve into the basics of trance all the way to advanced practice. This will be a combination of information, personal experiences, and practical application of hypnosis. These methods are what work for me and those I practice with, and you are free to agree or disagree as you see fit. I welcome and encourage you to explore, research, listen, and find your way. And if what I share can aid you on that journey, that is fantastic. I practice with the understanding that anyone can hypnotize and anyone can be hypnotized. Today I'm going to explain what hypnosis is and how that works. First, hypnosis is not mind control. Now, as hot as the idea of mind control being, it's not real. It can be explored in fun ways within scenes and trances, but the fact is, everyone has agency, and they have say on what goes on with their head. So, if you're looking for that, sad to say it isn't true. However, what it is helping the mind to open to suggestions, be more suggestible. Hypnosis is an altered state of mind where the recipient of the trance becomes more open to suggestions. It is different for everyone, but it can often be described as the feeling right before drifting to sleep, between sleep and awake. This can involve as few as one or multiple participants, as self-hypnosis is an option, or it can be one-on-one, one-on-two. You can have 2 tests to 1 subject. You can be multiple tests to multiple subjects. There's really any number of situations and possibilities, but you need at least one. I'll do a future explanation on self-hypnosis. Now, everyone experiences hypnosis daily. Think about going on autopilot on your way to work or school or to the store. That same route you take every day. You're driving, you're walking, and you blink and suddenly you're there. And you may not remember the entire journey. Well, that's a form of hypnosis. Or getting lost in a book, or a game or a movie. Time seems to shorten, disappear. Everything in the game or the book or the film seems more real, and you're there. The experiences vary, but it is universal. Also, as I had said before, everyone can hypnotize and everyone can be hypnotized. The methods and experiences are varied, but the point is, if you're interested in becoming a hypnotist, you can learn. Just need to find the methods that work best for you, and there are many. If you're a subject, you'd like to experience hypnosis, same goes. There is a way that will work for you. Some of the methods I'll explain would be perfect. Maybe there's other ways that suit you. But the point is, if you're curious to explore, with the patience and the willingness, you will find a way. There are 3 basic categories of hypnosis: stage hypnosis, therapeutic hypnosis, and recreational hypnosis, the latter being where the majority of our focus will be. But I want to give just a brief explanation of what the 3 main types are. We're going to begin with stage hypnosis. This is performative in public and sometimes staged. Volunteers are often chosen based upon potential suggestibility and their ability to be tranced quickly and easily. There is particular training that one can take to judge a potential subject on how they'll respond to certain things. There's also ways to do this by just watching how they respond to verbal and physical cues. I may cover a version of that in the future, but for now just know the purpose is entertainment. This is what is frequently shown on television and films, and perhaps you've been to a performance in person and even participated yourself. That's actually where a lot of subjects start. This is fun, and the majority of the time it's real. But the purpose of it is to entertain an audience, and it is often casual and a one-time hypnosis session. The second common practice is therapeutic hypnosis, and this is practiced by professionally trained hypnotists and hypnotherapists. And this is used for a variety of reasons, aiding the mind and body mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, medically, and in other manners. The applications are massive and cover things ranging from sleep issues and habit change to being done as an adjunct to medical procedures. This is outside of the scope of what I'll be covering, except to say, don't mix kink and therapy. If you're interested, though, there are many around. Just do your research and make sure they are legitimate. Most hypnotists that practice kink are not certified in hypnotherapy. and those that are most often keep a very clear divide between the two. And that brings us to our final one, recreational hypnosis. This is any form of hypnosis that is used for fun, entertainment, and enjoyment. This includes Hypnokink, which is the subcategory that we'll be covering, and it can be learned and practiced by anyone with interest, patience, and willingness to learn and explore. Before we delve deeper, I use Hypnokink and not erotic hypnosis as my primary term, because not all Hypnokink is erotic, and a lot of what I practice doesn't include it. That being said, I do enjoy erotic hypnosis, and I love to utilize it. It's just not my primary focus. I will do an episode focusing on it entirely in the future, and cover various methods to enjoy it. Let's look at some basic vocabulary that you'll hear me use and is also very common in other places that Hypnokink is practiced. Trance. This is that hypnotic state that is induced, and can vary significantly from person to person. Some, when they go into that state of trance, which again is that state of hypersuggestibility, with an altered state of mind, they will go into what appears to be a relaxed state, where their entire body slumps in their chair and they look as if they're asleep. Others may still appear alert and awake and feel hyper-focused. Some experience a form of hypnotic amnesia, while others remember everything in profound detail. Your experience is yours, and though most media presentation of hypnosis is the standard deep sleep, and the subject falls fully under the thrall of the hypnotist, this is rarely the true experience. Be open-minded and see how it works for you. After all, you have to want to be hypnotized for it to actually work, at least most of the time. Now, some other important terms are hypnotist, also known as tist. This is the trance leader, and they guide the recipient into the trance and through it. It can also be referred to as a hypnotop or hypnodom. This is the person that runs the scene, if you will, for those of you involved in the kink scene, which I'm primarily catering these podcasts to. The next is the subject or sub, and this is the trance recipient. This is the one that is receiving the trance, the suggestions, the information. The next one is a hypno-switch, and as the name implies, this person will hypnotize and be hypnotized, sometimes within the same scene, sometimes with the same partner, or any variation. It's, again, just like a switch in BDSM. Some practitioners of hypnosis only enjoy one role, while others fluctuate between the two. Now, how does a trance progress? This may vary, but there's a general layout that is often practiced. Now, safety is important, especially when working with a new trance partner. Negotiation should occur before any hypnosis takes place. This includes exactly what will take place, limits, safe words, and other indications of need to pause or stop the trance. What to do if something goes wrong, agreed upon aftercare, and anything else that can impact any member of the hypnotic scene. In the future, I'll do a focused episode on safety, negotiation, and aftercare specifically. But for those of you involved in general BDSM, the negotiation process is very similar, and keep in mind that the subject has agency. You can't make someone you can't hypnotize someone to walking off a cliff or to being your hypno slave forever. It just doesn't work that way. If you're looking for that, I'd stick to roleplay. Yes, there's different levels of intimacy and power of suggestion that grow over time, but key is it's not mind control. However, negotiation and building that foundation of trust can make the scene, the hypnosis sessions, that much more intimate, powerful, and enjoyable for both of you. Now, onto the trance progression. First, the induction. This is the process used to take the subject into trance, thus, induction of the trance. Many methods can be employed, which I'll discuss shortly. Two terms that are frequently used have different meanings in the non-hypnotic world, which I'd like to cover before we get further, and those are drop and trigger. Because of this, there's an additional term we'll use called abreaction. Drop. This is to indicate the drop from waking state into one of trance, and is different than the other form of drop that indicates a sub-drop or a dom drop, which is that unpleasant feeling after the euphoric feeling. It's the low down one that everyone feels differently. That's not what I'm talking about when I say drop in the hypnotic terms. Again, this is the drop from awake to trance. This is that desired response. Think of dropping a stone into a pond and how it sinks below the surface to the bottom, that stone's path being the progression of the induction into trance. So, again, keep that in mind when we talk about drop. It's also important to be aware of because a lot of hypnosis uses the word drop in the actual induction. The next is the word trigger. Now, this is a word, action, or other stimulus that causes a desired response, such as a feeling, behavior, or action. And the applications of hypnotic triggers are truly endless, and I will devote a full episode to this very topic in the future. But an example of a trigger could be some people have trigger drop phrases when they hear drop for me and a snap that might make them drop into trance. If they hear different things, might do the same. Some people have discipline triggers that cause them to feel a spank. Some have freeze and mute triggers that'll cause them to be held in place or unable to speak. There's a lot of things you can do with these, and again, it's endless. And I will do a whole focus on them. But again, this is a desired word or action or stimulus that causes that desired response, which is generally pre-planned and decided upon before the trance occurs. The next one is adverse reaction, also known as an abreaction. Now, this is that unexpected or negative response. This often can be prevented with pre-talk, avoiding specific stimulus that those involved in the scene know will cause comfort. Sometimes unexpected feelings and reactions occur. Communicate with each other when this happens and provide necessary care as was initially negotiated should an abreaction occur. For some, this is a full hard stop and a shift immediately to aftercare. For others, it may be a pause and a redirection. It's important to pre-plan this prior to trance, and to know that if one happens, that doesn't mean that trance can't occur again. It doesn't mean that you made a horrible mistake. It means that sometimes unexpected things occur. That's what the adverse or abreaction is. That's also why I'm a big proponent for talking beforehand so you know what to do should the unexpected happen. The next topic is a deepener. Now, this is the method that brings the subject further into that trance state. This occurs after the initial hypnotic drop and can continue with more visualization, sounds, or instruction. Oftentimes, one method is the descent downstairs, counting down the steps. It could also be going down an elevator. It could be keyed to a sun setting and going down behind the mountains of the horizon. It could be focused on a falling star. It could be just about anything, but the key is it's utilized to help guide them deeper into that state of trance. And since there are numerous methods to utilize, it's important to find what's more effective with your subject, because again, they're unique and different. That brings to the next topic, which is the content. This is the main body of the trance, what will occur during it. Is it a guided journey into a moonlit forest filled with mystery? Is it an exotic experience where physical sensations coupled with sounds bring ecstasy and torment? Perhaps it is an exercise in resistance and power where hypnotic bondage and control over the body is employed in a waking trance. Perhaps it's an exercise in resistance and power, where hypnotic bondage and control over the body is employed in a waking trance. Maybe your subject wishes to experience the freedom of running through a field as a dog, or napping in sunshine like a cat. Perhaps there's a deep fantasy to be stalked through the woods like prey, or to be the predator. These are merely a few possibilities in the wide world of trance experience. In hypnosis, the sky isn't the limit, your imagination is. Hypnotic suggestion. This occurs while under hypnosis and is not intended to remain after waking. This can be the story the subject is guided on, feelings and sensations of floating, sinking, being frozen in place or time. The subject can be brought to a waking but still highly suggestible state and can be played with like a marionette. They can be stuck tightly to their seat, having hypnotic shackles in place that allow them to move only so far. They could be made to behave as an animal, think stage hypnosis, or shifted into a different headspace with pet play, primal, drone, doll, toy, slave. So many possibilities can occur with hypnotic suggestion. One thing to keep in mind is that the mind will only obey that which it considers acceptable. meaning you won't create your very own BimboBot 2000 after a single or even a few sessions, unless that's something the subject actually and sincerely desires. Now, that being said, with all things hypnotic, just like all things kink, have some safeties in place and take care of your subject. Also be aware of personal limitations and needs as a test. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Just because subject A loved it doesn't mean subject B will. Every subject and every test is unique. Post-hypnotic suggestion. Upon awakening from hypnosis, the suggestions remain. This may be temporary, semi-permanent, or permanent. Let's say your subject loves the feeling of dropping a few IQ points from time to time. Well, it could remain as a trigger. You could agree on a trigger, word, phrase, etc., and have it take effect in the conditions you both find enjoyable. It could be like an on-off switch on demand. Or it could be a gradual return to intelligence. Or a gradual decline where they can feel themselves losing their ability to think and reason until it's returned. It could be done like a dial from 0 to 10, 0 being no brain at all and 10 being fully functioning as usual. Post-hypnotic suggestions are weaker than hypnotic suggestions. Under trance, the subject is more suggestible, clearly. When awake, they are less so. That means that it takes some actual effort to install a post-hypnotic suggestion, and even more so if you want it to work longer than just a day or two after trance. Also, bear in mind that sometimes what feels fantastic today may not in a day, week, month, or year later. It's okay to try it and realize that actually the IQ play isn't your subject's or even your vibe, and to either fully remove it or just let it fade into abstraction. Things evolve. There are things that my girl Cookie and I used to love that we don't do together anymore. Memory play, for example, which is intentional hypnotic amnesia, something I'll do a full episode on in the future. It's not something she enjoys anymore, so we don't do it together. And any previous hypnotic triggers related to it, we just stopped using, because another thing to keep in mind, if you don't use them, they tend to dissolve over time. There's also things that we weren't initially into that we do enjoy now together, so know that it is okay to change your mind, and that goes for both sides of the pendulum. There are things as a test that I didn't used to enjoy that I do now. There's things that I thought I would that I don't, so it's practice and experiences. Wakener. This is what brings the subject back to that wakened state. This is often seen as a simple count from 0 to 10, which is my preferred count, though some will do 1 to 5, or even 5 to 1, or any other combination of numbers. I just suggest that it's done consistently, so it doesn't get confused subject to subject or trance to trance. It can also be done with a gentle guiding back into awareness, bringing the subject aware of their surroundings, the environmental sounds, the sensation of the surface they're sitting on or laying on. If in person, you can do with touch. Gentle bring back to the state of awakening. It can also be done as an abrupt return, instruction to wake now, with loud noise or motion. I don't generally recommend this, though in some dynamics and situations it can be very enjoyable, so pre-negotiate this. There is any other number of manners of bringing from trance back to awake. One thing I would suggest is to allow time for your subject to fully return before engaging in your heavy machinery operation or other activities that require your full faculties, because think of it from even waking from a nap, where it takes some time to clear the cobwebs, to come back into full realization of where you are. And also, some people describe a very pleasurable feeling of fuzziness or floatiness following trance, and if you want to be an nice hypnotist, you might let them just enjoy that feeling for a little bit as they come back. Aftercare. That's that post-scene, post-session. Now, a fun thing about aftercare and hypnosis is safe work hypnosis trance can be used following a non-hypnotic scene to help reassure, help bring back to that more even level for those this works with. For my girl Cookie, we often do, actually we always do, a safe for work trance session following any type of other play. And if we're doing an intense hypnotic scene, it ends with a safe work shift, including reassurances, reminder of her worth, and for her it provides snuggles. Now, this is very personalized and should be planned out well before any hypnotic scene. And I would also state, know your abilities and limitations and be clear and honest about them prior to any scenes. As in, my girl likes snuggles and reassurance, and I provide that for her. However, as a general rule, I'm not very much into hugs and snuggles with others, so I make certain to talk about this prior to play, so my subjects know what I can and cannot provide. If they need to be held after and I can't do that, we either have someone else in place to provide that for them, or make sure they're taken care of in another manner, or we don't play together. It's my responsibility as the test to take care of my subject. If I cannot, then I'm honest. The same goes for subjects. Be honest about your needs. Don't just tell the test what you think we want to hear. Tell us what you really need. Remember, letting someone into your mind is an act of trust and vulnerability, and being permitted to someone's mind is a great honor and responsibility. Don't take it lightly. It's a lot of fun, but it's a scene. So practice precaution, practice honesty, and that way you'll both have a good time. Some other brief examples, too, for other forms of aftercare I've practiced. One previous subject, all she wanted was to be told that she was pretty and a good girl, and then she wanted to go take care of herself. Another current subject who I play with, she gets brought back up, we hang out and have conversations, and she just wants that quality time. Me, when I'm a subject, which rarely happens these days, but every so often, I just want to chill and hang out. I don't like reassurances. I don't like any of that. I just want to exist with my test and just enjoy friendship. Point being, it's different for everyone. One last thing, too, though, on the aftercare part is I've just been talking about aftercare for the subject. I'm going to talk briefly about aftercare for the test. We can have needs, too. After I do something really intense with someone, sometimes I need to be rehumanized myself. After I take care of them, I ask for reassurance. I don't always need it, but I need to be aware of that, so when I'm negotiating and talking to my subjects, I will tell them what I need from them, just like I need them to tell me what they need from me. And we gotta make sure both of our needs are met. Otherwise, like I said again, we're probably not gonna work together. The first method of induction I'll discuss is relaxation, and this is probably one you've heard of. It's the peaceful and calming method of inducing trance, often with a focus on breathing, muscle relaxation, and/or guided imagery. It's very commonly used and can be easily customized to what works for you. It's a personal favorite of mine to use for aftercare, little space, pet play, safe work, fantastical adventures, into trance. But it can also be easily shifted into other forms, such as erotic, fear play, and, well, anything. It is a highly customizable version and can be anything you want it to be. I'll spend an entire episode discussing this method of trance, the type of induction, and how you can use it in your play. Now, a brief note on hypnosis and trance, especially related to visualization. Some people, when they close their eyes, picture perfect detail images. Some people see nothing, and most people lay somewhere in between. Now, regardless of how your mind works, you can make this work for you. Just very important that you discuss this to begin with your test so the trance experience can be catered to what works best for your mind. Now, the next method is overload. And this is giving the mind different thoughts and ideas to the point that it overloads and turns off. It's a more jarring experience, but it's very enjoyable for many. I personally enjoy experiencing it when I'm a subject. Now, the 7 plus or minus 2 method is a common example, but it's just one option. Another one is confusion. This is using logic, puzzles, abstract ideas and thoughts, and other tricks to confuse the brain into shutting off, or open it up to suggestions. Fractionation. This is the transitioning from different states of awakeness and awareness, often on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being fully dropped into trance, and 10 being fully awake. The ups and downs create a fuzzy, often pleasant mind space, and this is a very effective method for those with a highly active, overactive mind, or those that don't do well with gentle slowing down of thoughts. Fractionation is also very fun to be utilized in other methods of trance. It's erotic, which I'll discuss in the future. Eye fixation. This is the use of an object, a pendulum, spiral, or other fixed or non-fixed location to focus on as an aid. The eyes become tired as the subject listens to an audio stimuli in conjunction with the visual. This can be exercised alone or with any of the above inductions. The final one I'll briefly discuss is a stress induction. This I advise exercising with extreme caution. This is the overloading of the mind in an unpleasant and uncomfortable manner, often used with fear play and more intense sessions. It's akin to edge play when you look at hypnosis. This, of course, is far from a comprehensive list of inductions, and I prefer to combine various methods these days, which we'll expand on in the future. Now, this episode was a brief introduction to the wide world of Hypnokink, and keep in mind that there are endless ways to explore from both sides of the pendulum. For those of you who have stayed with me this far, I want to thank you for joining me on this introduction to Hypnokink and its many applications. I'll be posting more of these with different focuses on types of trance, methods, and other kinky things I enjoy discussing. Feel free to post in the comments or message me with the email listed in my profile here if you have any questions or are curious about anything hypnotic, and I'll do my best to answer. Keep in mind that I share from my own experience and that it will differ from others, so don't take my word as gospel. Be curious and explore. If there's a topic you're interested in learning about, and it falls into the realm of hypnosis, or if you're curious if it might, send me an email or post a comment, and I'll add it to the list of topics to cover. If I don't have the experience in it, I'll look for a guest to join me on a future episode. If you like what you hear and would like to support me, you can do so on my Ko-fi, linked in my profile, or my Patreon, which offers a monthly subscription with special perks to follow soon. And also hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified of future episodes. On SoundCloud, you'll be able to find some of my hypnotic files, actual trances, with at least one new file planned per month. Thank you for listening, and remember, it's okay to be confused.